Hey everybody, it's Kaladesh and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'll be playing my final premiere draft of Kaladesh Remastered, as tomorrow they will be swapping out with Amonkhet Remastered. So without further ado, let's take a peek at our pack 1 pick 1 and see what we want to scoop up. Some very solid commons here. Daring Demolition is a great removal spell, probably the best common. There's also Glint Sleeve Artisan, a 3-mana 3/3 or 3-mana 2/2 plus a 1/1, and Shipwreck Moray, which is quite nice in the energy decks, giving you a lot of energy and just being a nice creature to attack and block with, very flexible one. When we look at our rare, we have Aetherflux Reservoir, which is not really playable in limited. You're not going to cast enough spells for this to ever do anything. And then our uncommon Sly Requisition are really slow. Windkin Raiders is fine, but the pick I'm going to make is Bomat Bazaar Barge. This is a pretty solidly sized vehicle for 4 mana. It cruises for 3, but then it turns into a 5/5. More importantly, draws a card when it hits the battlefield, and this is the exact kind of card I like to take pack 1 pick 1, because it's a colorless card that is going to go into absolutely any deck, no matter what deck I end up playing. So Bomat Bazaar Barge, really nice way to start a Kaladesh Remastered draft, and that's what we're going to roll with here. And for pack 2, we've got several great options again, this time mostly in the uncommon slot. Fairgrounds Warden's a very good creature, 3 mana for a 1/3. It exiles an opposing creature till it dies. There's Gifted Aetherborn, a 2 mana 2/3 Death Touch lifelink. Have to be heavy into black for it since it costs double black, but it is quite good. Played both of these in our black-white deck that had a couple Gaunties in it. That was pretty sweet. Both of those were great. Maulfist Revolutionary is great in an energy deck or a +1/+1 counter deck. But all of these are a little specific. When we look at the commons, we've got Prophetic Prism, which is another colorless card that can fit super well into literally any decks. That is also an option if you want to just stay wildly open. And with Bomat Bazaar Barge as our first pick, I'm a little interested in just being super open here. Again, I don't think it would be bad to take any of these uncommons. They're all phenomenal. Probably Fairgrounds Warden being the best, but since I haven't really gotten to show off one of the cool kind of things you can do in this format, which is stay incredibly open and play a ton of artifacts, I really want to make sure I can do that before this format leaves, so that's what we're doing this draft with Bomat Bazaar Barge into Prophetic Prism, into Self-Assembler. Another one of these great colorless options to take early in the draft that fits into any deck. Self-Assembler is going to be a great card. If you can get at least 2 copies of it, it will be great. If you get more than 2, it's absolutely absurd. Being able to know that you're playing a 4/4 on turn 5 and turn 6 is going to absolutely take over most games on the ground, unless your opponent has like a bunch of flyers or something. And yeah, if you get even more than that, it's absolutely absurd. So Self-Assembler is a very good common here. So for reading signals here, Aether Chaser is the best red common, so we'll keep that in mind. 2 mana 2/1 first strike that spits out servos. That's just a really efficient card. Thriving Turtle is one of the better blue commons, as is Gear Seeker Serpent. So some great red and blue in this pack and some fine white. So we'll keep that in mind when we think about what direction we go when we start actually taking cards that are not colorless. I think the best card in this pack is probably the Kujar Seed Sculpture, but not by a lot. We can just take a Renegade map here again for staying super open, because, I mean, I'm not really... I mean, I would be missing a bit if I do end up in green and not having a Seed Sculptor, but it's not like that's like a big reason to hop into a certain color. Innovator's also fine, but everything else in here is very filler, I feel. Just slow in their own ways, so I'm just going to take a Renegade map and stay open here. No real signals to read out of that pack. I mean, the best card was in green, so we're seeing some blue, some red, and some green primarily. Now we're seeing a lot of red cards. These are mostly filler, but one of them, Chandra's Pyrohelix, is a very good, very efficient removal spell in this format. This format is full of Servo tokens and Thopter tokens that are all 1/1 that you can clear out with this card. There's also some good 1 toughness creatures like the Aether Chaser I showed off earlier. And it's just super cheap and it's instant speed, so it can finish off some creatures after combat. So Pyrohelix is great stuff. Definitely the best card in the pack. And we've seen some moderate red signals, so it looks like red should be open enough to hop in on that. So scoop up the Chandra's Pyrohelix here. Now we see Druid of the Cowl, another moderate green signal, and then Malfunction and Nimble Innovator, a slight blue signal. But none of these are cards I super like to take very early. And I try to cut them generally, so they're not massive signals, but there are 3 blue cards in here, so do like the blue a lot. Druid of the Cowl is probably my favorite card in the pack. Malfunction's a little behind it, but this does tap something down and keep it tapped, so it's Charmed Sleep, it's fine. Yeah, I could see Druid, I could see Malfunction. Both of these would be good in this deck. Druid does let us get to these big drops a little easier, but I'm going to take the Malfunction here. I think I've been seeing a little bit more blue than green. Okay, now we've got pretty much nothing. Yeah, pretty much nothing. We'll just take Spireside Infiltrator. It's tied with the rest of this filler stuff. Yep. Eager Construct is not very good. Wildfast Monitor is not very good. Take Spireside Infiltrator. Now, Subtle Strike is definitely the best card in this pack. This is a sick combat trick. Put a +1/+1 counter on one of your creatures permanently and give something -1/-1. This is really good in this format because, again, you can kill servos, you can kill Thopters, you can kill Aether Chasers without even getting into combat with this card. So that's not even mentioning what this can do in combat. Let your 2/2 beat their 4/4. Or let your 2/2 trade into their 4/4. Yeah, Subtle Strike's pretty sick. I'm going to take the Subtle Strike there. It's just the best card in the pack by far. We wield Shipwreck Moray. I love Shipwreck Moray. Get in the deck. Come on in, friend. Other cards are Ornamental Courage, being a really cheap trick. Impeccable Timing, I'm not very high on. It's just not good removal. There's a white Pacifism in this set that I like a lot more. It's much more flexible. Then Implement of Malice and Implement of Examination are fine. Just little pieces of card draw. All right, Built to Smash. If we're really aggressive, this will be good. Nimble Innovator. I'll run like one, but it always plays really slow in the format. Built to Smash is huge if you're super aggro, but our deck does not look aggro. We've got Self-Assemblers, Beaumont Bazaar Barges and stuff. I guess... No, I'm definitely going to cut a Nimble Innovator. I feel like maybe I'll end up playing a Built to Smash. Now we get a super late Gear Seeker Serpent. We're super happy to see that. By far the best card in this pack. Next up is Malphus Squad. This is just a big win condition. A gigantic creature that's going to be the biggest thing on board. And even if it's not, you can just make it unblockable and guaranteed hit your opponent for 5. Gets a nice big cost reduction potentially as well. All right, a bunch of filler cards. We'll take the on-color filler. We will again take the on-color filler, take the cheaper one here, the front side, or frontline rebel. And now another black filler card there. And we open up a red rare to go with all these red cards we've scooped up, which is incredible. It's Chandra Nalar's mom, Pia Nalar. 3 mana for a 2/2 legendary human artificer. When she enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 flying Thopter, and for 2 mana you can give an artifact creature +1/+0 till end of turn, so all your artifact creatures have slightly more expensive fire breathing, and you can sack an artifact to shut off a blocker. So just 3 mana 2/2 plus a 1/1 flyer, pretty good deal. Not actually the scariest rare in the world, but it's definitely the best card in this pack. Chandra's Revolution's a close second, but that's about it. Yep, Pinalar, best card in the pack, it's on color. We will scoop her up and add her to the deck. Ooh, wow. I'm not that tied to blue right now, and Depala is a ridiculous card. A 3 mana 3/3 that gives all of your dwarves and vehicles +1/+1. That part's a little less important. The really sick part is that you have this giant card draw attached to her, allowing you to spend X to look at the top X cards of your library, put all dwarves and vehicles from them into your hand. She's a pretty sick card. That being said, we also see the best red common again, an Aether Chaser, and that's 100% going into this deck instead of just possibly. We only have 1 vehicle to go with Depala and 0 dwarves right now. Depala is a really cool, pretty sick rare, especially if you can pick up cards like Aerial Responder. That's an absolutely absurd dwarf. But Aether Chaser is also just a mega powerful common here and sticks to the 2 colors that we are right now. I'm going to go with Aether Chaser. Was pretty excited to see Depala, but then I realized we don't really actually have any dwarfs. I'm so happy I'm in red here. This is the really nice part of, just staying super colorless at the start, seeing that there's kind of more red cards than anything else and hopping into red, because then you can end up in positions like this where you start getting past red bombs like Free Jam Regent, a gigantic flying fire-breathing dragon. These kind of cards are going to win you many games in many limited formats, and Kaladesh Remastered is no exception. If that weren't in the pack, Renegade Willsmith is pretty spicy here. If we had taken Depala into Renegade Willsmith, if Free Gem Regent wasn't here, would be a pretty real plan as well. Oh my god. Talk about a draft pod being just hard red. Red like an absolute novel. We're just going to get past Free Gem Regent and Skyship Stalker now, and another Aether Chaser. This is the freebie draft pod here. This is the mono red draft pod. Good lord, didn't even need to look at the rest of that pack. And now we get Welding Sparks, the best red removal spell in the format. Instant speed, 3 mana, does at least 3 damage, potentially more. There's also a Prophetic Prism in here and an Aether Swooper. I currently have 1 burn spell, right? I only have a Pyrohelix. I think I'm gonna take the burn spell over the Swooper, but the Swooper is super sick. Taking the burn spell over the Swooper because now we have so many incredible red cards that it's possible that we don't have to play blue, and we could play red-black if we open up like a good black rare. Like, by sticking to primarily mono red for now, I'm not planning on being mono red at the end of this draft, but what I can do is play whatever rare I open up in pack 3, regardless of what color it is, and just drop the blue cards, and then just become red-green or red-white or whatever rare I open. So we're going to try to stick as much to red as we can. This pack is full of unplayable cards. Honestly, the best card is probably Tezzeret's Touch, turning one of your artifacts into a 5/5 and bringing it back when it's gone, but that's hard to cast. It's blue-black here. Ooh, very nice aggressive card. Inventor's Apprentice, essentially a 1-mana 2/3 if you have a good artifact count in your deck, which we do have a decent chunk of artifacts, and more importantly, a couple Aether Chasers to spit out servo tokens really quickly, so Inventor's Apprentice should be pretty good here. Definitely the best card in this pack. Maybe tied with Propeller Pioneer. That's a pretty solid white one. We'll take Inventor's Apprentice. All right, red cards all day. See how many 2-drop creatures we have. We only have 2 2-mana creatures, so I'll take a Reckless Fireweaver here, up the 2-mana creature counts over the 3-mana creature count, because we already have 4 3-mana creatures. Gremlins is better than the Infiltrators and the Frontline Rebel, but not by a massive amount, so I'm just going to focus on getting the right mana costs right now, the right mana value. Thriving Turtle super late. Yeah, it's starting to look less likely that I'll be happy to be out of blue, because now we have Thriving Turtle and Shipwreck Moray and Malfunction out of the blue cards. I guess Weldfast Monitor here. Not going to play a Precise Strike. I've already got a Built to Smash if I want Combat Tricks, which is a better trick. Not going to play any of this. Sure, I'll take Destructive Tampering. Destroy an artifact or creatures can't block this turn if you're super aggro. Last pick Riparian Tiger, alright. Alright, we've opened up Metallurgic Summonings, which unfortunately is not the greatest rare ever. You need to play a lot of instants and sorceries for this to be good. It doesn't immediately impact the board. You have to be able to tap 5 and then do nothing to the board state, and then untap and start casting instants and sorceries. So there's, even in a deck with a lot of instants and sorceries, there's a pretty real cost to playing this card that keeps it from being great. Whereas here we have the kind of mythic uncommon, the gigantic bomb creature of Scrapper Champion. It's going to be super sweet in this deck. It's also in our main color, red. I'm going to take the Scrapper Champion here. A third Aether Chaser would be pretty sweet as well, though. But Scrapper Champion's just so good. Maybe we can wheel the Aether Chaser with how Pack 2 went. That would be incredible. If we can't wheel that, maybe we get like a Hinterland Drake or something if we're sticking to blue-red or an Aether Hub. Okay. Pick 2. Really sad about this Self-Assembler. We have just not seen a second Self-Assembler, so I might have to get cut. We get another Prophetic Prism. We can get a Trophy Mage with just a Weldfast Monitor in the deck, but if we take Trophy Mage and we wheel the Weldfast Monitor, we'll probably run both just to make the Trophy Mage a 3-mana 2/2 that draws us a card. Windkin Raiders is probably better in this deck because we don't really have any good 3-mana artifacts. This will just be a big flying game-ending threat, especially if we can improvise it and make it come out on the board for cheap. So that's fine. This doesn't seem like an Aether Trade wins deck. We've got some energy enter the battlefield effect, but not like a massive amount. Yeah, I'll go Windkin Raiders or Prism. You know what? I'll just go for another Prism. Actually, I think we're missing a massive amount. Missing that Windkin Raiders. I do like Night Market Lookout a lot if we end up in black here. But that card does tend to wheel, and it's only really good with a bunch of vehicles like Sky Skiffs that you can crew for 1, which we don't have. So if I'm taking a black card, I'm just taking Subtle Strike. These blue cards are not good. This red card is not great, so I guess I just take Subtle Strike, and we're still open to if we see some sick black cards pass to us, going that way instead. Another Inventor's Apprentice here is pretty nice. We could also take a Daring Demolition for black, or a Shipwreck Moray for blue. Blue gives us Thriving Turtle, Shipwreck Moray, Malfunction. Gearseeker Serpent. Black gives us double Subtle Strike and Daring Demolition if I take that. think I just take Inventor's Apprentice, but I'm leaning more towards Shipwreck more than Daring Demolition. Actually, Aether Poisoner is a nice black card too, and it's a 2-mana one, which is important in our curve, but I'm going to go Inventor's Apprentice. Okay, yeah, we're definitely blue-red. We have got Gearseeker, Serpent, Skyship, Plunderer, Thriving Turtle. I'm going to go for the Skyship Plunderer, fill out the 2-drops here. This is a great card. It's going to give us another energy every time it hits our opponent, or put another +1/+1 counter on our Thriving Turtle, or anything else that has a counter on it. So fill out the curve, get more 2-mana creatures. Thriving Turtle's great. I would love another one, but get more 2-drops in this deck. Nice evasive one, too. Okay, now we can take another Thriving Turtle. We can also take Glimmer of Genius, which is very solid card draw. Instant speed, scry 2, draw 2, get 2 energy. So very, very good card. We can also take another win condition with the Gearseeker Serpent, but even a Thriving Turtle's a win condition if you have enough energy. Just gets so big so fast. So actually real hard choice between Turtle and Glimmer. How's our creature count looking? 20 creatures? Okay, let's take some non-creatures. Take a Glimmer of Genius here. Okay, so now we're not playing black for sure. Start cutting our weakest creatures. And I guess I could still splash black off Double Prism, but that's probably not happening. This is all filler. I guess the best filler is Hinterland Drake. 3-mana, 2/3 flyer. I'm not going to splash in an Aether Poisoner. Definitely not going to play the 5-mana 5/4 Sailback. Yeah. Hinterland Drake, it is there. Inventor's Goggles is fine with a good Artificer count. 7 Artificers? Sure. It's also good. Oh yeah, really good with the Inventor's Apprentices, but quite good with like Servo tokens and Thopter tokens. Because, you know, 1/1s aren't going to matter too much, but making a 1/1 a 2/3 is actually a pretty big deal. 2/3 is much more impactful on the game. Alright, Nimble Innovator. Come on in. If we want one of those, it's an option now. Now we take an Aether Tradewinds, pick up one of our energy-producing cards and slow our opponent down. Precise Strike that I will not play as a trick. That Night Market Lookout going nice and late, as it usually does. You love to see it. It's probably not a deck where we need the Renegade map. We might still play the Prisms. 1 or 2 of the Prisms to make the mana really easy. Ooh, Wheel of Shipwreck Moray. Come on in. Come on in. Join the party, Shipwreck Moray. Sad day. 1 Self-Assembler. The only one we saw. And last pick, Night Market Lookout. Ooh, if I had 3 Sky Skiffs, I would just start splashing in those Night Market Lookouts. Probably not. Okay, we've got 48 cards here. We've got a huge deck. We've got a deck full of great stuff too. We've got 21 creatures and 10 non-creatures. We're probably cutting some creatures. Most filler look like Spireside Infiltrator and Frontline Rebel. Spireside Infiltrator is really good at crewing our Bomat Bazaar Barge though. So I think I like that better. Weldfast Monitor doesn't seem great either. I think I'm lowering the artifact count, so cutting like Fireweaver because we're not going to have that many artifacts anyway for it. Inventor's Apprentice, I think we could still try to rely on Goggles, Prisms, and Servos for that. Fireweaver, maybe not. I guess I'll keep Fireweaver over these 3 drops for now. Definitely want to cut some 4-mana creatures like Peafowl, probably Innovator, and then this could be our creature curve. How many creatures is this here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Pretty perfect for an aggressive strategy, which looks like what we are. Yep, we'll cut those 4, and then we just need to cut 4 non-creature cards. Again, doesn't look like we need Prism, and taking some time off of committing more creatures to the board might actually not be great. So maybe we actually cut Double Prism here, and then cut 2 more cards. Aether Tradewinds does slow us down, and we're looking pretty aggressive. Cut that, and then maybe the Combat Trick here, or the Malfunction. Probably the Combat Trick. I like Malfunction, so we have something to actually kill big creatures. If I cut both Prisms, got a little bit of a problem with Inventor's Apprentice. It's just going to be a 1-mana 1/2 a lot. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll only have 5 artifacts left in the deck for these Double Apprentice. Maybe we change the creatures out then. If these are the non-creatures we're cutting, maybe we're cutting Apprentices and putting other ones back in. Or just cutting Apprentices, period. Does make our Goggles worse when we cut Apprentice. Yeah, I'm going to put the Apprentices in the maybe pile too. Let's see the non-creatures that we cut as well. Renegade map. It's about it. Renegade Map, Destructive Tampering, and Precise Strike. Don't really think there's anything on the side that I really want back in the deck. Yeah, I guess I could cut Trade Winds, 3 more cards. Build to Smash and then 1 of each. Build to Smash is so sick with Aether Chasers. I really don't want to cut Build to Smash. Maybe I cut 1 Apprentice, 1 Prism, and a land here. Could see that. Average cost 3.0. I do have a lot of great 4-mana cards, and I've got that big bomb free jam Regent at the high mana cost. Gearseeker Serpent up there as well. I'm gonna lower this curve then, drop a Gearseeker Serpent for another Apprentice possibility for the 16 land build. Actually, I have so many 4-mana cards too, and most of them are great. Maybe I cut 1 Moray because we're not that much of an energy theme. Cut 1 Moray for the second Prism, make the Apprentices better, and get another cantrip for helping hit the next mana source when we need to. Could actually see that. Run both Prisms still so the artifact count is higher for Apprentices. And for free gem Regents for the Improvise, so that this isn't really a 6-drop every time. Sometimes we play it for only 5 mana, sometimes we play it for only 4. I think I like this. I like having both Apprentices in, both of the Prisms to work with the Apprentice and the Fireweaver and stuff like that, and just cantrip into more lands when we need them. And that gives us more cards to improvise the Regent out. Yeah. I think this is going to be the deck. Let's make sure our mana looks good. We've got 14 red cards and 6 blue. So we'll change it to a 9/7 and rely on Prophetic Prisms for those blue cards. Does make Thriving Turtle a lot worse when we can't consistently play it turn 1. Maybe we just go mono red. I mean, our blue cards are good. Glimmer of Genius is our best blue card. That one's great. Skyship's pretty good. But it'd be 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6. Cut 4 creatures, 2 non-creatures. Do we have 4 red creatures, 2 red non-creatures? Not really. We'd play Weldfast Monitor, Frontline Rebel, and Self-Assembler as 3 creatures to put in. And then we'd be running a Self-Assembler without a duplicate. We'd end up running a Precise Strike and a Destructive Tampering. Yeah, we're not mono-red. There's no way we're mono-red. Alright. In that case, I think this is the deck we're going to roll with. Really happy with how that pack 2 went. Sweet dragons to try to close out the game with, so it's going to be a really exciting way to wrap up the Kaladesh Remastered Premier Drafts. So without further ado, let's head into the gameplay. Alright, we're on the plate here. We have all of our colors thanks to Prophetic Prism, and I have my 2 biggest bombs. So while the curve is not good, there's no way I'm going to mulligan away Skyship Stalker and Free Jam Regent. Should be a pretty great way to start a game here. Well, pretty great way to finish a game, more accurately. I've got a Scrapper Champion as well. Play that on 4 and then haste out the Skyship Stalker, but I can also just play Stalker on 4 and Regent on 5, and that should be pretty unstoppable. Audacious Infiltrator from our opponent. Well, that's perfect. That is the perfect draw. We'll Pyro Helix that thing and shoot them for 1. Or wait till post-combat in case they play another 1 toughness creature. I think I will. Paying 3 life to see if I can kill 2 cards off of this. Okay, I can't. Alright, hope for no removal for the Skyship Stalker, but even if they have it, we've got a Free Jam Regent next turn thanks to the cost reduction from tapping Prophetic Prism to the Improvise cost. Alright, opponent has 4 mana up. That's enough mana for pretty much any removal spell in blue or white in the format. That's enough mana for Malfunction or Revoke Privileges, the 2 enchantment-based removal spells those colors have at common. Also enough for all the bounce spells like Leave in the Dust, 4 mana to put it back in our hand and they'll draw a card. If they put it back in our hand though, we just can replay it with haste. think they're aware of. All right, they're just going to play a Visionary Augmenter on the ground, try to race us here by going wide. Yeah, that's going to be scary. This is going to be scary. Got a malfunction. I'm just attacking in and playing a bigger flyer. And then we'll start clearing the board with all our removal. Hoping the lack of removal spell used on Skyship Stalker there means they just do not have a removal spell in hand. We can start taking this game with these flyers. We killed them in 2 attacks because both of our creatures have fire breathing. Yeah, both of the dragons have fire breathing. Just 1 red for +1/+0. The free gem we have to spend 2. It's 2 for +2/+0, but it's the same rate. Alright, there's a thriving turtle on the ground. That will get more damage in. Attacks as a 1/4 the first time. Okay, we've got a Glimmer of Genius. I think I want to Welding Sparks the Hinterland Drake and just dump a bunch of mana into fire breathing here. Maybe I malfunction it because it's more likely that we can Welding Sparks and play something else on a future turn. Plus this is sorcery speed, if that will end up mattering. Do they have an impeccable timing in their deck? That would be really sad. I can't do anything about that, though. Select for inspection. Put it back in her hand. Alright. Slows us down. They're still down to 12, though. But that is going to help them race. They could have selected their own Hinterland Drake to save it from removal, but they would have to spend the mana recasting it this turn, so that probably wouldn't pan out well for them. So, yeah, it makes sense to get the Regent. Cloud Blazer, that's disgusting here. I mean, Cloud Blazer is always disgusting. That card's an absurd Magic card. Gain 2 life, draw 2 cards. I would go as far to say as I would pick one, pack one, that over free jam Regent. That's so bad for us. Guess I'm recasting the Regent. Just attacking with the Stalker. Can Fire Breathe once here. They probably drew into removal off the Cloud Blazer. Probably, more likely than not, that probably found them enough to win this race now. Either with just 1 removal spell, or just a tempo like bounce spell again. If they have neither, then they don't have great attacks here. But I doubt that. That also gained them enough life to where I can't Welding Sparks and Fire Breathe enough to kill them next turn, because I can only do +3. Well, I guess +3 is exactly enough. Never mind. Could Welding Sparks and then Fire Breathe 3 for 10 damage next turn. Okay, they're going to pass turn. It's probably just another select for inspection or something here. Six mana up in the blue-white deck. I have 6 mana to play my own cards. I can play a PNLR and a Welding Sparks. I think I attack in. And then just play a P and hold up Welding Sparks. Right, I don't think I go for lethal here against the blue-white deck with 6 mana up. So if they had anything else to do here, they would have just done it. So it's got to be instant speed interaction that they're hoping for. So we need to make sure that that does not work out for them. Because if I welding sparked the oh Jesus Christ, I am killing the heck out of that Cloud Blazer before they flicker it and gain 2 more life and draw 2 cards. Yeah, I was gonna say, if I tried to welding sparks the Cloud Blazer pre-combat and then they just had like a select for inspection. Wait, is this lethal? Oh my god, this is lethal? If they don't have another select for inspection? Okay, now I'm tempted to do it because they put their stuff back in hand, so they only have 4 damage on board. Now I will play Fire Breathing and hope that the Paradoxical outcome was their one piece of interaction. Because now, even if they have select for inspection, I'm not like dying on the crackback or anything. Wait, what just happened? Oh, my free gem was blocked. Oh. Oops. I completely forgot. I completely forgot. I am a doof. I'm a doofus there. I should have just still played PNLR. Anyways, what I was saying earlier was that I didn't want to shoot their Cloud Blazer then attack both and get select for inspection after I spent all my fire breathing mana, and then I've just played nothing for the turn. Obviously I should have played PNLR because I forgot that thing was blocked because my mind was elsewhere. I was still trying to explain my earlier line of thought. This is why win rate goes down a lot when recording or streaming. Mainly streaming. Streaming it gets even harder because you're trying to like hold conversations and stuff. See if our opponent has enough interaction to get out of this. Both of these are lethal on board. I can shut off a blocker with Pia. Alright, there's a Hinterland Drake. There's a Thriving Turtle. Please tap out. Please tap out. So I don't have to worry about instant speed interaction. And I can feel safe about my line. It's going to be the same line regardless, but still. Alright, they didn't tap out, but I'm going to hope this works out. Sack the Prism to say Hinterland Drake can't block. I mean, either of these already get in for lethal by fire breathing, whichever gets through. But this just makes it even more likely. Alright, 7 damage on board. And 7 damage resolves. That felt a lot closer than it should have been, drawing both the bomb dragons there. Opponent had a pretty nice deck of their own, trying to just outrace with some tempo bounce spells and stuff. Luckily for us, that welding sparks so that they could not pick up the Cloud Blazer was pretty dang huge. So we're going to be 1-0 now as we head into game 2. Alright, opponent's on the play here, but hopefully we can still be on the aggro with turn 1 Apprentice and turn 2 Aether Chaser. This hand would be super good if we were on the play, but still pretty great on the draw. We are guaranteed to get that free gem Regent turn 5 now. Well, not guaranteed turn 5, because they might kill our servo, or our Aether Chaser before it makes a servo. Well, we're going to have to discard one of our many lands to that Implement of Malice. Sad day. Definitely discard the blue source. Many more red cards than blue cards in this deck. And we've got a Fire Breather. Now they're just going to play an Alley Strangler so that they can block the Aether Chaser. That's annoying. But I still have a Bazaar Barge to play on turn 4 to still have 1 artifact for the Regent on turn 5. So Bazaar Barge was a pretty great draw here. There's their own Beaumont Bazaar Barge. Very good card. Seems like my opponent and I are in agreement on that one. Okay, I could crew the barge, but I can't attack this turn. We against black-white. I don't actually really want to run out the free gem regent immediately here. I want to see if I can draw removal on our other cards. Black-white again, removal heavy colors with Daring Demolition and stuff they can play. Goodbye Island. Night Market Aeronaut. Alright, a 3/3 flyer. Well, now none of my other threats are like big enough for them to want to use removal on. I'm gonna trade barges here. If I trade barges here, I don't get to play free jam regent next turn, but again, I'm already thinking about not doing that. I could double block Alley Strangler, but I don't want to do that. Actually, no, I can still... Yeah, no, this is great. I can still play free jam regent next turn because I get the servo. And at this point, I actually do think it's my best line. My best line is just hope they don't have removal because none of my other cards I can play are possibly scary enough for them to want to spend removal on. Like, they're not going to kill a 2/3 flyer when they have a 3/3 flyer on board. So it just doesn't... it doesn't matter. We just have to hope they don't have removal. We can't bait it out with this hand. Alright, fingers crossed. No removal somehow? They've got 6 mana up. Yep, that's removal. They already read it, now they're looking at it, boom, shoot it. Nothing we can really do about that there. We're not drawing that demolition out with these cards. Guess I could have played the massively long game with it. Goggles is pretty sick here. I'm gonna go Fireweaver first so I get some damage out of the goggles. And then next turn I can like Drake and move the goggles to the Drake so they can't hit us with the Aeronaut anymore if we're worried about that. I think I go Fireweaver, goggles for damage. Goggles on the Aether Chaser, that thing gets in now. How bad is Subtle Strike for us? Make that a 3/4, make this a 2/2. But they just kill an Aether Chaser and we still have goggles to win other combats. Actually, no, Subtle Strike's super bad for us. Because they can actually put a counter on Alley Strangler and give a -1/-1 to the servo. But it looks like they do not have it here. Which is nice. Send in both. They didn't have Subtle Strike last turn, so unless they top decked it, I don't expect a trick here. If they had a trick, they would have used it on the Chaser. Oh, sick, a Wrath. A Wrath, and they also get to play another spell for free? That's really rude. Oh, Underhanded Designs is not that scary. We just need to keep them off of 2 artifacts. For them to not use it as removal, and even if they do use it as removal, it's basically just Doomblade. It's fine. Yeah. What are the odds of 2 Wraths here? Let's just put everything on board. They are black-white, so they're like the only deck in the format that could maybe have 2 Wraths. I mean, I guess any deck in white could have 2 Fumigates, and any deck in black could have 2 Yeheni's Expertises. But the odds of that are very low. Although this is coming from someone who had a double Gonti deck. The odds of that are really low too. So who knows, maybe they have another Wrath. But they just used a regular removal spell on the Hinterland Drake. So now we're just going to start sending in a big turtle. Yep, our turtle's going to be bigger than the Herald. It's going to do less damage to them though than the Herald's going to do to us, so maybe we Welding Sparks the Herald. Probably do. To the point where I'm not going to play Prism here. Yeah, they win the race right now, so we'll need to shoot the Herald. So I'll do that when they go to combat if they don't play another creature pre-combat. Okay, hopefully their next creature's not better. That's not better. Does just as much damage. Oh, but doubling up with 2 more creatures? That is better. Alright. Come on, Prism. Find us some goodies. Ooh, it found us some goodies. That's for sure. Another Dargon. And if they don't top deck removal, that's going to kill them very quickly. Okay. I think I spent 3 on Infiltrator and the rest of the mana into the Stalker's Fire Breathing. So I am not going to move the goggles right now. Marionette Master, that's a scary one. That gives them enough enough artifacts to use underhanded designs as the removal for the Skyship Stalker. That's pretty huge. This can't get trample, can it? No, just First Strike or Haste. That might be game. That might get us. Because now they chump block the Stalker with the Foundry Hornet, and they just take it over with Marionette Master? Like, they kill the Stalker and then take over the game with the Marionette Master? Because every time one of their artifacts dies, we're losing life equal to that thing's power. Infiltrator can't get in well. Turtle can't get in well. I guess I could move the goggles to the Infiltrator. That will make it a 4/4. Okay, yeah, goggles on the Infiltrator is definitely the play. And then attack both. Put them to 3. Although they chump block, deal 1 to me. No, they chump block with a servo. They deal 1 damage to me. I'm down to 10. They blow up the Skyship Stalker, and then the crackback is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We can do that here. Okay, cool. We're going to kill the Marionette Master. Yeah, they're going to have the winning board state here, but... yeah, no matter what here, we're going to have to draw into something. We're going to have one big turtle versus their small stuff. I mean, I guess I get to block all day long and they're low on life. So it really is a top deck war. Who can draw better from here? The answer is our opponent. Dawn Feather Eagle is absolutely killer. Now they have their own 3/3 flyer. I guess they don't really get an attack in here, because we still... I mean, they can put us down to 5 here. They'll still have all of their blockers. That's probably worth it. Just attack with everybody, put us down to 5. We're dead to 2 attacks from the Eagle now. Yeah, no, Eagle is incredibly killer. Now we only have like 1 draw step. They'll have to crack the underhanded designs before this block resolves, though. Not that that really changes anything, they just will do that. And that's not going to do it. We're dead. I mean, we're going to 1. Ah, this was a sad one. Wow. There were a million outs since they didn't play another creature there. That's super sad. That was a really bold attack if they didn't have instant speed interaction, because any energy producer, we would have won that game in the end there, but flooded out in the very end when it mattered. Sad way to end that one. Lost the top deck war, and we are now 1-1? 1-1. Alright, opponent is on the play here again, and we are going to be on the draw. Another great aggressive hand. Drop this turn 2 Aether Chaser. We hit any lands and we're on to the Infiltrator. If we don't hit any lands, we're just playing Fireweaver or Pyro Helix, whatever we need. 4th Bridge Prowler is pretty disgusting against Aether Chaser. And we will not hit a land, so we'll go Fireweaver to block the Prowler from doing anything. They have a Defiant Salvager as well. They can sack the Prowler, but only at sorcery speed, so I can kill that right now. Which I might as well do, because I'm not doing much else. Pass turn. Well, this is not ideal. Play a Goggles and pass. Oops. No, we're not attacking here. Airdrop Aeronauts, just a 4/3 flyer. Yikes. We'll equip Fireweaver and pass. Can't attack into the Aeronauts, they just block. Alright, here we go. It might be too late because now they've dropped a Master Trinketer. Yeah. I don't think we can win this game. We needed to hit mana earlier. It's three lands versus 7 here. They have enough mana to make a servo right now at instant speed. Yeah, this game's completely over, but I'll play it out to the best of my ability. But I would put a large wad of money on us losing this game. Alright, servo's coming out. Still taking 4 in the sky. We're dead in 4 turns to their attacks in the sky, and Built to Smash only gives an attacking creature +3/+3, so we can't use it on the defensive with our Plunderer. That's why I'm not really trying to get the Plunderer out anytime soon. I'm just trying to hit the 4th mana for Malfunction, because chumping with Plunderer is not really a winning strat. It's just dying slightly slower. Drop all these Aether cards and pass the turn. Now they're getting 2 servos a turn. Alright. Lock down the Aeronauts and die to the Trinketeer. Basically have one more draw step to maybe draw a removal for Trinketeer to stay in the game. But it's literally only one more draw step. Because they're going to have 7 attacking creatures. We're going to have 4 blockers, which means 3 things get in for 5 damage if they attack with everybody this turn. So they don't quite kill us on the attack this turn, so they can't really do that. Wow, their deck's really good against us. But they can find a lethal attack next turn because they make 2 more servos and just attack everybody next turn. They can attack with all the servos here because all they're losing is some random servos. But they can't lethal us yet. Alright, yeah, we're mega dead. That was a super rough game. I don't think that keep was very greedy because we were on the draw and we had several 3-drops, multiple 2-drops to play around with. It just obviously did not pan out very well for us. We hit our lands very, very slowly, and then there was a bomb rare from our opponent. We only had 1 removal spell that game, so did not have the removal left to deal with the bomb rare. Definitely happens. It's going to be 1 and 2. I guess we had 2 removal spells, but Malfunction doesn't stop the Trinketeer. One of the other downsides of Malfunction. Alright, here we are in game 4, which unfortunately could be the last game for this deck. I think this deck is way better than it's done. We've just had some pretty poor draws these last couple games. Hopefully we can get a nice comeback with this deck. and at least pivot into an average win rate run here. But we'll see. Could be a 1-3 and out to balance out all the 7-win runs earlier. Do have to get some bad luck at some point. Can't just be whitelisted forever. Our opponents got the bad luck this time. They kept a 2-lander with double swamp and they're still stuck on mono black. Play a Hinterland Drake. This cannot block their servo. So they do have their Implement of Malice to draw a card here, but they just hit the white source, so no need. Opponent has done better than we did last game. They missed for 1 turn and now they're there. So at least there's that. Lint Sleeve Artisan. I'm gonna make it a 3-3. Probably dropping a Scrapper Champion here. It's gonna be a massive threat if they do not have immediate removal, which we know they're stuck on 3 sources. So if their removal is Daring Demolition, they have to hit a land again. They have to go 2 for 2 on land drops. They did go 2 for 2 on land drops. But no Daring Demolition. They're going to sack the Implement of Malice to draw a card. 5th land does let me eventually cast these 2 in the same turn. Everything is currently castable and Glimmer can hit more lands. I think I'm discarding this land. I could see discarding Glimmer though. Don't think I'm discarding the Moray. Oh my god. Okay, so they have Vengeful Rebel as removal to work with the Implement. This is looking like it's just going to be one of those sad days. We have a great deck, and it's not going to work out. Just going to kill all their stuff here. And start winning the race with Hinterland Drake, hopefully. And draw some cards with Glimmer of Genius to draw some more big flying bombs that we've got in the deck. Opponent has not... Opponent missed 1 land drop. They drew 3 lands out of their top 4 cards. The world is their oyster. Aviary Mechanic, pick up Puzzle Knot, get another 1/1. Alright. Got a Malfunction, no need right now. We'll play the Moray first so we can block all this stuff really easily. Pass turn. Life totals are even here. I mean, at least close to even. We're gonna combat trick the Moray. I'm not gonna pay any energy into this if they're gonna tank on it so hard here. They definitely have some kind of trick that they'll just like definitely use if I pay energy to save the mechanic. Airdrop Aeronauts. All right. Maybe they didn't have a trick. Maybe they just really wanted us to kill that. Okay, I kind of have to just malfunction that. We are losing this race a little bit. I am not a fan of that. Our opponent's deck's pretty good against malfunction. Let's just stop losing the race. We'll just pass turn. Now we can block mechanic and a servo. Lean in on Glimmer of Genius to take over the long game. Try to make this a long game. +2/+1 to everybody or something. Currently I have no reason to spend any energy. This is a fine combat for me. I'm gonna Subtle Strike. Give the Hinterland Drake -1/-1, put a counter on the other servo. Okay. Do you have another trick? Seems good. Should not have auto-tapped. Let's set another island in hand. Talk about a frustrating draft. They're gonna have another combat trick for lethal now. Literally have it all. Oh my god. That was a bad beans draft to finish off the Kaladesh Remastered Drafts. Every single thing that could possibly go wrong went wrong. Well, I mean, again, balance out the good luck with some bad luck at some point. That was super sad. This deck was infinitely better than a 1-3. We just had some really, really rough draws and some opponents with some really, really good draws. Got maximum punished for our 2-land keep. Flooded out at the inopportune time in our other loss. So yeah, our first loss was we ended up in a top deck war and lost the top deck war. Our opponent even went for an aggressive attack where we had any of our energy cards, like a Shipwreck Moray, Scrapper Champion, any of the Aether Chasers would have been immediate lethal with the Thriving Turtle. Also, a Pyro Helix would have been lethal, a Built-to-Smash would have been lethal. Opponent went for an aggro attack, left us with several outs there, but our last 3 draws that game, I think, were just land. So we got manhandled there, lost the top deck war. Second loss, we kept the mildly greedy 2-hander, or 2-lander. It was Double Mountain. We had Aether Chaser, Fireweaver, Goggles, I think. So we had a lot of good like aggro stuff going on. And then we just did not hit a land for like 4 or 5 turns maybe, which gave our opponent all the time they needed to just, you know, have 4 and 5 mana creatures on board when I'm still playing 3 drops, which you're not going to recover from that. And then you all saw the third loss. My opponent kept an equally greedy hand to the 2-lander I kept, but they missed 1 land drop and then just hit land, and curved out on us and had 3 combat tricks all at the opportune moments to completely crush any of our defenses on the draw there. So really sad one here, but it is part of life. It is definitely part of Magic as well. And every now and then, you are just going to get lucky. And every now and then, you are just going to get unlucky. So, we had some lucky runs for sure. Couple 7-0 runs here, and a 7-2 run. But today, another pretty good looking deck. Just going to get absolutely crushed. There are flaws in this deck. I don't want to say that this is a perfect deck that should have had another 7-win run. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the Spireside Infiltrator. The malfunction's pretty bad, as we have seen. It did not do anything super great. Prisms aren't like super necessary in here, and our artifact count's a little low for these apprentices to try to be greedy. The Fireweavers aren't great. The perfect version of this deck probably has, you know, these out of here, some more Turtles, Aether Chasers, or Aether Swoopers for a little bit more of an energy theme to be super powerful. But even then, when you get rid of these mediocre cards, when you look at the core cards in our deck, we had Free Gem Regent, Skyship Stalker, Scrapper Champion, and Pianalar. We had all those bombs. We had Welding Sparks and Pyrohelix for interaction, even a Malfunction for some interaction. We had a decent curve of creatures, the double Aether Chaser on 2. I think this deck's, on average, like at least a 4-3, maybe a 5-3 deck. And I think this deck had potential to 7-win in a lucky run, but as we've seen here, also has the potential to 1-3 in an unlucky run. So that is unfortunately going to be where we leave Kaladesh Remastered off. Again, really nice runs overall. 7-0, 3-3, 7-2, 7-0, 1-3 balances out to still a pretty dang good win rate. So still some nice Kaladesh Remastered runs. Just super sad to lose with the really fun dragon deck here. But that is part of the game. So that is going to end today's draft. I hope you all enjoyed that draft more than I enjoyed playing it. I did not really have fun today. That was probably a little relevant. Sorry, I did get a little salty today. It does happen. I am not immune to sadness and misery and frustration. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see some more drafts like this, make sure to stick around on the channel. You can like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send more of these videos to you in your notification feeds. Well, your recommended feeds specifically. If you want notifications, you got to hit that bell. And other than that, we got Amonkhet Remastered Drafts back tomorrow. I'm going to start doing those daily until the launch of Dominar United this September. Just right around the corner, I believe September 1st, September 2nd. Right around there, it will be on Arena. So great draft stuff on the horizon. Stay tuned for that. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.